Prop on the motion. Today, the world faces the coronavirus pandemic, which for a large part has stopped life in the way that we once knew it. One such aspect of life being the idea of going to physical school, instead replaced by new online school systems. However, this raises the question of how these new systems should be graded. It is because on Team Proposition, we understand how essential it is to instill a culture of accountability within our students that we are so proud to propose today's motion. This house would require classes moved online during time of crisis to be graded on a pass-fail system. Today, I'll begin by first clarifying the framework for today's round, and second, analyzing one key question, beginning by first looking at what exactly time of crisis is. A time of crisis is any time during which normal, everyday aspects of life are no longer possible. We're talking about things such as natural disasters or pandemics, for example. Secondly, a pass-fail system is a system in which students can either pass a class or fail a class, and the consequence for not participating in online schoolwork is to fail the class. And finally, we believe that today's round should be weighed using cost-benefit analysis, which I'll get to you in the next point. One key question in today's round is how does the role of schools change during a time of crisis? On Team Prop, we believe that outside of these times, the role of school is to prepare students for the rest of their lives, whether this means for the next school year or for adult life outside of school. This role does not change during a time of crisis because people should continue to prepare as if life will continue after the time of crisis ends. In this way, we see two main tangible benefits coming from instituting a pass-fail system during these times. First, we teach students accountability. If we don't use a pass-fail system during times of crisis, we are teaching students that during times of crisis, their obligations to school or work simply cease to exist. However, if you ask your local essential worker, you will quickly find out that this is not the case. Because of this, it is really important that we teach students accountability at a young age. Because we would prefer that we use a pass-fail system right now, and that way later on in life, students are prepared to face obligations during future times of crisis, that we don't use a pass-fail system, and students are not prepared at all to face obligations of work during future times of crisis. Although right now, not meeting your obligations to school may simply mean the difference between getting a B and an A, later on in life, not meeting your obligations means the difference between being able to provide for yourself and your family or not being able to. The next tangible benefit that we see is that next school year after the time of crisis will be much more streamlined and efficient. Because if we don't use a pass-fail system, the majority of students will simply choose to not participate in online schoolwork because they have little to no incentive to actually participate. This makes the next school year much less effective as teachers will not have to spend their time helping these groups of students catch up to the rest. And this makes it hard for anybody to actually learn anything in a certain amount of time. However, if we use a pass-fail system and give students an incentive to participate in online schoolwork, that group of students who don't participate will be greatly minimized, making the next school year even more effective and helping schools better meet the role of preparing students for the rest of their lives. Now, I'll likely have two main responses, talking about other obligations to things besides school, and second, lack of accountability or accessibility. However, we have three main points of response on Team Proposition. First, the obligation to school already existed prior to the time of crisis. And in fact, this obligation is likely lessened as online schoolwork is much more flexible and has often a much smaller workload. Secondly, the motion specifically says moved online, and most often whenever schools and districts choose to move their classes online, it is because they understand that the majority of their students actually have access to online work and are able to participate in the online work. And even further, most often students who don't have access will receive at least some type of leniency. And on our third response, the people who have access to the internet should outweigh the group who does not have access to the internet, because if we try to maximize the people who actually participate in online work, this will make the next school year much more effective as less people will have to play catch up, as I already gave to you in prior points of analysis. It is because on Team Prop, we prefer a world in which students are taught accountability and are better prepared for the next school year and for the rest of their lives that we are so proud to propose today's motion. Thank you.